Welcome back to Getting Started with Amazon FBA. And in this video, we're going to be discussing whether or not your product fits Amazon rules and whether or not it can actually be sold. Now you're going to notice that Amazon has a page that talks about restricted products. And it actually talks about their policy. And you're going to want to make sure that you read this page carefully. We're going to talk about three basic categories of restricted products, but again, if you are going to sell as an Amazon FBA vendor and you're going to want to build a business based on what they're allowing you to do, make sure that you understand their restricted products policies. Now, the first thing you're going to want to note is that Amazon has certain brands that they restrict from being sold by FBA third-party vendors. And if you're wondering how these restrictions are determined for brands, there's some general categories, and there's a way to think about this. Items that are easily counterfeited, items that are easily stolen from retail stores, the brand that doesn't really want their perceived value to be decreased, or a brand that is sold exclusively at a store or at a location. Typically, those are going to be the kinds of products that Amazon FBA sellers will not be able to list on Amazon. And in this case, you'll want to track this information in the Amazon Seller Central forum, where you can participate for free. And there's typically a running list of the restricted brands that you'll want to pay attention to in the forum. Now, Amazon FBA has a list of prohibited products, and these products are not allowed to be sold on Amazon for any particular reason by third-party vendors. Again, you have the link in your document. You'll want to make sure that you go to this page and make sure that you're looking at an updated list. And in other cases, Amazon restricts access to sell certain products by requiring approval from their vendors. And of course, you'd only be able to do this as a professional seller anyway. So that's really one of the reasons, again, why you want to consider getting a professional account. But then also, even as a professional seller, there are going to be certain products that you are going to have to fill out an application to Amazon for them to allow you to sell as a third-party vendor. One thing to keep in mind is that Amazon says you may be required to seek approval if you're going to be selling in the toys and games category during the winter holiday season. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, there are open categories for both individual and professional sellers that do not require approval at all, and we will actually explore those categories. Now, for individual and professional sellers, these open categories include Amazon device accessories, and these are the kind of accessories that you typically find to be used with Kindle. Maybe you're talking about colors. You don't have to apply as an individual, as a professional seller. You can actually consider this to be an open category. Amazon Kindles can be sold by individual sellers. They can only be sold as used products. Baby products can be sold, obviously, but they have to be new only. Books can be sold as new or used items. Camera and photo equipment, both new and used items, can be sold. Cell phones, new, used, refurbished, and unlocked, can all be sold on this level in an open category without having to apply. Consumer electronics can be sold, new, used, and refurbished. Electronics accessories, new, used, and refurbished, can also be sold. Home and garden items can be sold. Music and media, new, used, and collectible, can be sold. And musical instruments can be sold by vendors, new, refurbished, used, and collectible. To continue with this list, you'll notice that office products can be sold, new, refurbished, used, and collectible. Outdoor items, new, refurbished, and used. Personal computers can be sold on Amazon by FBA vendors as new, refurbished, or used. Software and computer games can be sold, both new and used. Sports equipment can be sold as new, refurbished, or used. Tools and home improvement equipment can be sold as new, refurbished, or used. And lastly, of course, toys and games, new, used, and collectible, can also be sold. It's important to note that another item that's on this list are video games and video game consoles. All of those items can be sold as new, used, or collectible, and they can be sold in an open category without having to apply to Amazon in order without having to apply to Amazon for special approval. Now in the next video, we'll be going over the categories that are only going to be open to professional sellers and require approval by Amazon for you to sell as an FBA vendor. So with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video.